Hey y'all, it's Joe for the Cranky Old Gay Guy, and welcome to Monday morning. It is chilly outside, but it's supposed to get warm today. It's semi-clear sky. It's supposed to get clear again this afternoon. But I'm wearing this because I was out walking the dog, and it's kind of chilly. I didn't want to have stiff nips while I was walking around the neighborhood. It might send a wrong signal, you might say. So today we are going to cover the subject of a woman's right to choose and why it makes me cranky. Well, what makes me cranky is not their right to choose. It's folks telling them that they don't have the right to choose. That makes me cranky. Do not tell a woman what to do with her body. Do not tell a man what they can do with their body. Don't tell anyone who's an adult what to do with their body. Got that? Got it. So here's the issue. There's this group called Right to Life, or people who say I'm a right to lifer, etc., or fall into that category where they're pro-life. Well, their pro-life stance only pertains to the unborn. Once the fetus turns into a child, is born, it's a baby, they don't give a crap anymore. There's no support for the mother. There's no support for the child. They don't care. It's like, oh, if the mom doesn't want it, adopt out. There are plenty of parents, they're saying white parents, who want a child and they'll adopt it. Well, I call BS on that because it is BS. And I think everyone should have a right to choose. So what I'm going to choose to do right now is take this off because it's kind of muggy in here now. Ooh, okay. People telling people what to do, it makes me cranky. Okay. If you were female or you had female parts, like a uterus, so you could carry a child. I'm also going to jump around a little bit. Boy, that's unusual, isn't it? Um, I'm going to refer to a woman's right to choose in this video. Now, when I say woman, I'm going to include anyone with a uterus. I know there are some trans men out there who have a uterus, and sometimes a trans man will have a baby or get pregnant or, birth a child. But rather than to say persons with a uterus, I'm just going to say women. Okay, so I'm not trying to be offensive. I'm trying to be succinct in what I'm talking about and just put it all together. Okay, so if you are a woman and you find yourself in the grips of pregnancy and you did not plan on that pregnancy and you did not want that pregnancy, or that pregnancy has proven to be very unhealthy for you as far as making you ill or risking your life, or you find that the fetus or the embryo is defective to the point that that child, when it becomes a child at birth, is going to have a miserable existence. It'll be in a vegetative state. It'll be in a coma. It'll require 24/7 care because it can't do anything and will never be able to do anything on its own. Should you have the right to terminate it before it gets that far? Yes, I think you should. Why? Well, think about when you see a bird or something that gets hit by a car or whatever, it's suffering. Hunters, you deal with this. You wound an animal, well, you're going to have to kill the animal or you're going to prolong its suffering. It's the same thing with an embryo. If it's defective to the point where it's going to suffer, is it not best to terminate it now before it goes along to the point where it's in misery? Well, that's something, I think. Um, it's the far right that's pushing these things. Okay. Project 2025, I know I've mentioned it somewhere in a past video. Um, it wants to outlaw all abortions. It also wants to outlaw all contraception. So think about that. No pills, no condoms, no nothing. It wants sex for procreation only. Something else it wants to do is track your menstrual periods. So if you have a uterus, they, as in the scripters or creators of Project 2025, and J.D. Vance, the vice president nominee for the Republican Party, and the Orange Man himself, um, openly state that the police should be tracking menstrual periods of all women. So if you miss a period, you are put on a watch list to make sure that if you're pregnant, you do not terminate the pregnancy before delivery after the 9-month period. It's very draconian in my mind. And I think that it wouldn't occur if there was a legislative act that said any male, and when I say male, I mean someone who has sperm and can impregnate, or their sperm can impregnate someone with a uterus. Um, I think the rule said that anyone who took part in this impregnation through their sperm should be held and would be held financially liable for the cost of all of the pre things before birth. If we're talking doctors, hospital, vitamins, ultrasounds, just visits, as well as sharing in the cost of raising the child and the responsibility of raising the child. Because if that was the case, things would be a lot different. If even if the kid's underage, if the sperm donor is under the age of consent, under 18, are not considered an adult, well, then the parents would become liable for all of those costs. Now, think about all the legislators who are pushing for this. How many of them would want their teenage daughter to have a child out of wedlock? Um, Probably not. And, they'll just pay to have it taken care of and swept under the rug and no one knows about it. But what if they had a son who was underage, who impregnated a female with a uterus? I know I said I wasn't going to say that, but now I'm saying it. Um, how would they feel if now they are financially responsible for all the pre-keep and the upkeep and the ongoing raising of that child that was unexpected, unplanned for, and potentially not wanted? If the people in power who are trying to push this stuff became financially responsible for this stuff, because they are, and their families are, this wouldn't even be an issue. Abortion would have been a right a long time ago, and it would be a continuing right. Because you, you as the viewer, you as a male, you as a legislator, you as a legislative female, you have no right telling another person what they can and can't do with their body. A woman who gets pregnant who is of age, as 18 and up, gets to make her own decisions. She gets to decide if she drives, if she votes, if she eats, if she works, if she goes to school, what she spends her money on. She gets to decide if she wants to go on a date, if she wants to have sex. She gets to decide all sorts of things. So, why should she not be allowed to decide what happens to her body? Being pregnant isn't a walk in the park. Your body goes through a lot of changes. Your hips spread. You get big in places you didn't know you were going to get big. You are discomfort. There's some pain. And I don't mean birthing, I just mean throughout the pregnancy. Do I know this firsthand? No. But I know a lot of women who've had babies, and I hear the stories. Um, Also, it makes a significant change to your body, and it can potentially put your life at risk. Sometimes there are complications, there's bleeding, um, there's on and off hemorrhaging, there's a hemorrhaging during birth, there is a high blood pressure issue. We're not even talking about hemorrhoids, that just kind of comes with the territory, I think, because all that pressure in the lower area, your pelvic core is being really smushed out there just from the weight of carrying a child. And then you've got people with high blood pressure who their blood pressure increases when they're pregnant. Um, you have sometimes someone will go and become diabetic because of the pregnancy, or there'll be a mismatch with something going on with the fetus. So your body's attacking itself. It there's a lot of things that can go wrong, okay? And I don't believe that all the pro-lifers out there take time to consider any of that when they try to force someone to carry a pregnancy to term. So that's what makes me cranky is women not having the right to choose. Now, I know that most of my viewers are men, and I'm assuming they're mostly gay men, but even gay men have children because a lot of gay men had wives or girlfriends or slept around, etc. Or maybe they were just sperm donors, squirting a cup. But think about it. If it was you, would you want the government telling you what to do? Yes, you have to have this kid. No, you don't have to have this kid. Oh, you must have this kid, and then you're going to give this kid up. Or if you don't have this kid, well, you're going to go to prison. By the way, Project 2025 also wants to criminalize all abortions, which means a jail sentence and a financial penalty. They also want to do the same for anyone that assists in said abortion. Primarily, doctors could spend life in prison. There are some right-wing nuts who think that the death penalty is in order for someone who performs an abortion or has an abortion. Donald Trump himself has stated that women who have abortions should be penalized. There should be some kind of punishment for them doing this. Why would you want him in office if you are a woman, regardless of your religious stance or your being a Democrat or a Republican? How in your right mind could you ever vote for a candidate and a party whose platform is so anti-woman and anti-choice? Ask yourself that. That's all I got today. Thanks for listening. This just came to mind while I was lying in bed this morning. I don't know what I was thinking about, but um, yeah, it just kind of made me cranky. So I thought I'd share it with you. Hope all of you have a great day. I will see you all tomorrow. Bye bye.